Structure's only $100,000, but what about the slashes, the equipment, the machines like this, that tables, you got 250 in this, really. Well, so she works real hard to give it apples to apples. This is what we can do to match your policy, but I think this is where your policy is more. You're paying $500, but you really need $250. Same or
I need to go and talk to them about insurance for the farm.
Quorum will call a meeting to order. Invocation.
Gracious Almighty God, Creator of all things we see and we do not see, we thank you for this opportunity to decide decisions for the city. God, we just pray that you'll be with the members and the leaders of our community, that you may guide their communications with grace and dignity, and shower us with your wisdom. We ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Pledge of
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any changes to the agenda? Okay. Moving on then for the approval of the August 15th, 2018 meeting.
I move to approve the minutes of the August 15th meeting.
I have a motion by Christie. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Eaton. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. All
Aye.
opposed, same sign. Approval of the minutes for August 21st, special meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the August 21st special meeting.
I have a motion by Mark. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Chuck. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to financial matters, appropriation of ordinance 16.
I'll make a motion to approve appropriation ordinance number 16.
I have a motion by Mark. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Christie. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Moving on to proclamations.
Am I to read this, or are you reading this?
No, you can. Be my guest.
Oh, I would love if you did, but which one of us has the stronger glasses? would be-
Right, it comes down to that.
Not me.
I'll try. Whereas on September 7th, 2001, the United Nations General Assembly unanimously passed Resolution 55/282, designating September 21st of each year as the International Day of Peace. And whereas a vigil is a period of watch and wakefulness, and in the content of the International Day of Peace, vigil can be done in the form of prayer, meditation, or other matters of spiritual observations with the objective of peace awareness. And whereas the intention of the resolution is to encourage the observation of the worldwide 24-hour vigil of peace and nonviolence on International Day of Peace in every house of worship and place of spiritual practice by all religious and spiritual base groups and individuals, by all men, women, and children who seek peace in the world, and to demonstrate the power of prayer and other spiritual observations in promoting peace and preventing violent conflicts. And whereas the Right to Peace special event will be observed in Concordia on Sunday, September 23rd, 2018, at the Nazareth Mother House. And whereas a broad coalition of religious and secular organizations in Concordia have committed to working together in observance of this special event. Now, therefore, I, Sam J. Sackle, Mayor of the City of Concordia, Kansas, by the authority invested in me, do hereby proclaim Friday, September 21st, 2018, as International Day of Peace in Concordia, Kansas, in accordance with the United Nations General Assembly resolution and encouraging all citizens to participate each in their own way by focusing on awareness of the cessation of violence, conflict throughout the world, and in promoting peaceful behavior for the entire 24-hour period, to focus on strengthening the ideas of peace and alleviating tensions, and causing of conflict among people and governments, to precipitate individual activities planned for our community on that day, and in the broadest sense, work to create an internal state of concord and tranquility in ourselves and in the community and the world.
We graciously receive your proclamation. It will be a joy to have the entire Concordia city community celebrating with us on the 21st, and all are welcome at the other celebration at the Mother House on the 23rd.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to public comments.
That's really a profound statement, seeing as how Senator Carlson was the person that introduced the Day of Prayer in the United States Senate chamber. It was signed into legislation along with the support of Senator Talmadge from the state of Georgia. Moving right along to why I am here. A couple of weeks ago, I visited the dog park with my dog, and we were at the drinking fountain in the small dog park. You know, small dog park doesn't mean dogs that are that big. And in the drinking basin on the lower level, some big dog had left a calling card. Folks, if you can't understand what the difference is between big and little, why do you have dogs, and why do you insist on embarrassing, intimidating, and absolutely harassing those of us who do abide by and respect our animals and our fellow being? Have a pleasant evening.
Thank you. Any other public comments? If not, moving on to new business. Approval of contract of the dam safety inspection.
Dam safety inspections.
Safety inspections.
Dam safety inspections.
Dam. Dam safety inspections.
Just stop.
3 years ago, we completed construction on two, we're going to call them levee systems, but dams here in Concordia. One up Plum Road and then one at 21st Street. And this year, we received letters from the Kansas Department of Agriculture that oversees the maintenance of those dams and told us that it was time for our 3-year inspection. Our dams are classified as high hazard dams, so they do need to be inspected every 3 years. And this is the start of those. We did solicit proposals from 3 firms that we do work with. One, Alfred Benish and Company, you'll recognize their name as working with them from our airport work. Campbell & Johnson Engineers from here in town, as well as RMA Engineering here in town. Ron and I took a look at those proposals. We went through them very thoroughly, and what we found is that we have those 3 qualified firms qualified to do these inspections. Ultimately came down to price, and we are recommending tonight that you approve the proposal of RMA Engineering to perform the safety inspections on both of these 2 levees for us for this year. We also want to point out that this is something that is going to happen every 3 years. So 3 years from now, we'll be back asking for your approval to do the same thing again. be happy to answer any questions, and I believe both Ken Johnson and Jason Rourke from RMA are here to answer any questions that you might have.
What is the cost on this?
We have a
6,000?
not to exceed 6,000 is the way
Okay.
that the proposal was prepared.
I would move to authorize. Move to approve the city manager to sign a contract with RMA Engineering to provide the safety inspection and report as required by the KDA for the 21st Street Dam and the Plum Road Dam in the amount not to exceed $6,000 to be paid from the general fund.
I have a motion by Chuck. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mark. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Moving on to the manager's report.
I'm pleased to report that the replacement of our server has begun, and we're well on our way to getting back up to full speed, so we do appreciate the commissioners' support to have us act as quickly as possible to get that replaced. Lockett Technologies is working on that for us. We've also have plans to attend a meeting tomorrow in Salina, and it is the Joint Legislative Transportation Task Force meeting, and it's a group of folks that represent different agencies that are working on behalf of KDOT to try to put together a plan for future funding for future transportation projects across the state. The closest meeting that we have is the one in Salina, and we are going to be going. It'll be Ron and Ashley Hutchison and I that will be attending. We're going to be there to listen. We will be there to offer some input. We did provide written testimony, and what we spoke on was we are in favor of maintaining funding that supports maintenance of existing infrastructure as well as improvements to existing infrastructure. We are putting specific focus on asking again for some assistance with the First Street and Lincoln project to try to help to assist our local truck traffic and support our ag industry. I recall that just recently we were denied again some grant funding for that, and we understand the reasons KDOT denied that. However, we would like to try one more time for that as well. Finally, we do have Fall Fest coming up here in the community, and in a couple of weeks, and I know the Fall Fest committee has been working very hard to assemble the schedule of events and attract vendors and get activities planned, and I just wanted to remind the commission that we have signed up for a couple of those events. One of them I know Chris Atkins is working on, and that's the fire truck pull, and the other is the truck smash. So we do have the small blue truck that we use for water meter reading that we have removed some of the glass and the fluids from, and we will be preparing to smash that in an effort to raise funds for some local charities. Commissioners, we've asked you to be a part of that, and I think those of you who have gotten back to me on a time that you can help to work that booth. For the public, we will have some buckets set up with commissioners' faces on them, and we've asked each commissioner to select a local charity, and when people come to smash the car, they can pay their fee, and they can put that fee into the bucket of their choice, and the funds raised from each of those buckets, we will have the commissioners share that with those local charities. So I think we're planning on 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturday of Fall Fest is when we'll be set up for that. Happy to answer any questions that you might have.
So we'll find out who's the most hated person on the bench.
No
It has
pictures
to do
on
with the
trucks.
charity.
No.
Not supposed to smash the bucket.
No, our goal in this is just to help out the charities, and it's kind of a fun way. A lot of times when you dispose of vehicles, sometimes they end up going to salvage yards and they just get one crushed by a magnet or something. So this allows us to get a lot of crushing involved, and just kind of a fun way to show our support for the local community.
It is better than sitting on a dunk tank, so I'll go with that.
Next year, we'll make a note of that for you, Sam.
Don't look too hard.
Are there any questions for me? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner comments, Mark?
I've had several people ask me how profitable the plaza is, and I really don't have a good answer for that. I said, I guess my answer is there's a lot of things that are tied into that with the increased business downtown and those types of things, but don't really have an answer to give on that.
At this point, I don't have any numbers right in front of me either, but if you get questions with those, I would steer them to Broadway Plaza office to Jessica Brucken's office there at the chamber. They have a nice little pamphlet. I believe that Ashley handed that out to you guys a couple of months ago with her
Yeah.
mid-year report. And it has a nice dashboard that kind of talks a little bit about sales and attendance and some different events and stuff. And I think that that's probably the easiest way to get a feel for how well the plaza is doing and the impact to the community.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Chuck?
Well, I don't believe in really short meetings, so I have a comment to make. And this is directed toward the police department, and I'm embarrassed that I did not catch the officer's name, but I was on my morning walk one day last week, and he pulled up beside me and started a conversation and asked if, things were going okay, and he didn't know me, so I introduced myself as one of the city commissioners, and I just want to let you know that I think that that's what community law enforcement is really supposed to be doing, is, checking up on people and making sure that everything's going okay, and if there are any concerns. So your officer was doing a good job. That's all.
Further on that, I had some comments on when the college first started, and they had the big parties going on downtown and stuff, and there was some fights and stuff going on, but how the police department came in and did a great job on Hamlet. It got to a point that even the guys stopped and everything, and they ended up taking pictures with the policemen. I thought that was kind of neat, so I kind of got to go along with that as well. That's very good. The only other thing I've gotten questions on is the pool, how well that's done, and the numbers on that, and I just tell them we're working on it, so kind of go like that.
It was in,
Got a report ready to go for you tonight.
All right. Okay, staff comments.
About that pool report. First, just some income figures. You can see that we did about $2,000 more in income than previous year. $700 of that was pool parties. There were a lot more pool parties because of the slide. And as far as attendance, we were up about 1,800 from last year, which is pretty good, we think. And then our expenses, if you want to go to the next one. This again just shows the revenue, and of course the revenue just discussed doesn't include the $2 fee, which we hope or should get about $55,600 is what I have in here by the end of the year, which goes towards the improvements. And then if you go down to the bottom, I guess one thing that I didn't include in here after I made the report, I realized there's going to be about $2,000 more in expense on the utilities line here for the basic utilities that go through the end of the year, electricity and gas. So that would change the bottom line by $2,000 down here. So in other words, we'll be taking about $15,000 from the Special Parks and Rec Fund, which, considering we did the toddler slide this year, isn't out of what we were estimating at the beginning. Basically, I think it did well overall. Yes, there were additional expenses, but we also added the Tuesday night swim. That we did that for 8 Tuesday nights, and 710 people attended that, which was an average of 89 people a night. And it actually, every time I drove by, it looked like it was really a popular thing. Now, we didn't charge separate for that, and so the total that we made from that was only $642, which was less than $1 a person if you figure that. That's just because you could have came earlier in the day and came back, or you could use your punch cards or anything for that. So back to this, though, again, we kept the bottom line at the $90,000 on this report, which I think is kind of what we had discussed. That was basically the average of the last several years. So if you want me to do it differently, though, I can.
And 112, that was just income coming in and expenses. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's actual to date. And then I'm estimating, see, we'll move the money out.
Well, I know, but
Okay.
without moving the money,
yes.
it was around 113,000 in the red.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's basically the $68,000. And then, of course, we offset it with the revenue, but actual doesn't have all of the fee yet through the end of the year, so.
Okay.
Any other questions on that? And we just got some preliminary numbers on the slide for next year, so hopefully we'll be able to bring that before too long to you, which we're excited about.
I was just going to say that every year the league asks for voting delegates during the luncheon on Monday during the annual conference. And right now, the mayor and the city manager are the two that will be attending. So if that's okay, we'll name you two as voting delegates. And Ron's going to go with Raymond Mendenhall, who's going to be recognized for 45 years. And he'll be there for lunch, so we can make him an alternate, if that's okay with you.
That's fine.
Okay. Any other staff comments? Do I have a motion for adjournment?
I so move.
Second.
Let's call it quit. That's pretty fast.